Okay, so here's the simplified walk for the character. I'm going to select my all button. And I'm still going to animate 325 to 350. But instead of doing all this nice squash and stretch and hopping up in the air, I'm actually, you know what, let me do this. I'm going to delete. I'm going to try to keep as much as I can. So for sure, I want I'm going to start with the base con. And you may not even have to do this because I'm just trying to take what I've done and salvage some of the animation, like the overlapping action. But from 325 to 350, he's not going to be stopping. It's going to be a constant movement. So I'm going to delete all these frames. And I'm going to take this guy. And let's say, so I'm in steps. I'm going to hit the button right next to it, which is a flat tangent. And if I zoom in here, you can see it very quickly creates a very nice ease out. And then he speeds up and then ease in. But I don't want him to go up, so I'm going to grab the translate Ys. He's not leaving the ground anymore. So I'm going to take all these guys. Actually, yeah, I'm going to take all these and just put their values to 0. And he's actually through the floor, but I need to rotate. I also need to change the rotation. So rotate X. These are all now 0s because I'm not going to have him rotating for the hop anymore. And then let's see, I probably don't even really need this toe animation either. So I'm gonna, well, I know I translated it, so I'll put these back to 0. And this is why I know we spent a whole lot of time fixing a lot of rigs where you had values in your controls. And this is exactly why, because if you don't zero out your controls, they're going to always be there and you're going to have problems with the animation. So translate X, those should all be 0s. Yep. Translate Y, those are 0s. Oh, here it is. Translate Z, this should also be 0. And then I think I still have some rotations. Yeah. And you don't have to worry about, was the default position -1 point whatever, it's just 0. Simple to remember. All you have to do is put 0s in the translates and rotates and you're back to your starting position. Those are 0s, those are 0s. Okay. So I do want him to drag his upper body, but I don't need so much movement. So he's just going to fall forward at the very end instead of in the middle where he was hopping. So I'm actually going to go through, I rotated, let's start with my rotate X. And I could probably, well, let me just do this way. I'll just keep it simple. I don't want to make it too complicated for you guys. So he's gonna, if he's dragging forward, let me just delete these. And translate Ys, there's no movement there. I think I wrote, maybe translated. No, I'm sorry, rotations. Okay, so it was just the rotate X. And then, you know what, I'm just gonna zero this one out too. That way I'll show you the slide all together. And these values, yeah, I'm gonna delete these two in the middle. And this one too, this will be 0 too. Okay, so right now he's just sliding forward. There's nothing really, this is more like layout. There's nothing interesting about this slide. In fact, I'm gonna make this one a little bit farther because let's say he's let me start back on the base con. Let's say because I did the other one much closer because it was more work, but this one is going to be a slide, so I can get him off screen and he'll slide onto the screen. So let's say he's here. So we're still going, he's still traveling over 2 seconds, but his distance is now, he's doing a lot faster. Well, he's off screen. Let me do this a little bit differently. I want you to see his movement. So he goes from there to, let's say he's going to finish at 350 on the other side of these guys over here. Just so you can see him start and finish his slide. If I hit play, that's not too bad. And I could exaggerate this more with speed, where he accelerates much faster in the middle and then he slows us down. Oh, that was one of them that I forgot to talk about. Oh no, I talked about ease in and ease out. Anyways, okay, so if he's starting here in this position, let's say by 329 he's moving, but I'm going to drag him back. I'm going to take his controls and we'll see how well this works. If I rotate him back, yeah, maybe I'll even push him back a little bit. And then when he gets here, he stays there until the very end. And what's the principle in physics where it's going to, why is his body moving forward if his base stays put? What is that called? You guys remember?
Is it inertia or am I dumb? I think it's I don't know.
Yeah. So and I don't remember which law of physics it is, but an object in motion will continue in motion. So even though his base stops moving, his upper body continues in motion. And we don't need all of these frames because we're actually I'm gonna stop him a little bit sooner, so I can have a little bit of time to settle down at the end. So let's say he gets there at 343 instead. I'll key him there, and then I'm gonna delete these. Actually, let me just delete these guys instead. I'm gonna delete these guys and move this to 343. There we go. And then, okay, so he's sliding, he drags, and then he gets there. His feet get there, but I'm gonna have his, well, let me do this. I'm gonna key him down here too at 347 and then at 350. Okay, so by 350, he's gonna stop moving. So all of his controls, his translates and rotates can be zeroed out. Oh, except for one, I forgot. I don't want to zero out his base con. So everything else can be zeroed out except for his base con. There we go. And zero these out. It should deselect. It's not deselecting. Let's see. There we go. Okay, so to deselect the base con, I had to hold shift and just select it individually. Control is normally what I thought I would have used, but all right. So he gets there, but he gets there. What his drag back at the beginning doesn't match his drag forward at the end. So I need to make that happen much faster. So he gets there at 343. It takes him, what did I say? Actually, I should, I'm going to say it takes him four frames to get to his back position. So it should take him 4 frames to get to his front position. So 1, 2, 3, 4. I'll grab this guy and drag it 1 frame in. So now he's, and this is exactly why you use the all button, because I'm using, except for the base con that I'm not moving, all the other controls, I have them selected with my con control, select objects. And you can see that I just moved the timing. Whatever I had it happen earlier, I moved it sooner. I'm sorry, when whatever, 146, I moved it sooner. So he gets there at 146, and I can see there's a couple things that I missed. There we go. So he's gonna fall forward at, actually that's not the right frame. I said 4 frames forward, so I'm gonna pull this guy, all these back one more frame to 147. So yeah, that's the same. Okay, so now I'm gonna rotate him forward because of inertia. And I could do this actually through this whole, let me undo that. Zero this out. Oh, hold on, it's 3. I just want to make sure everything's keyed for my timing. If everything isn't keyed for timing, you can see it kind of missed a couple things. You want to just go back through and just key stuff for the keys and breakdowns. When you start to use a spline curve, this is going to be a lot cleaner for you to work. Okay, so at 347, I'm going to put those back to 0. Yeah, so he's back. Okay, but he's rotating forward now. So I'm going to grab, I have the waist con, the chest con, the neck con, and maybe even the head con, maybe all of them. And I'm going to rotate them forward. Yeah, maybe something like that. Oh, what happened? Yeah, there we go. Doink. And
I just have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I just now remembered this, but when you're editing within the keyframes, sorry I call them keyframes, but and you're just moving them from say 300 to 310 because you're just back like a little off or something. How do you move them to where they don't move vertically? Because whenever I try to move them, that's where the problem is happening.
Yeah, that's what I was saying earlier, because I did move them and I was meaning to move them vertically, but they moved horizontally. So the secret to that, if I want to move these, I don't know, like, let's say the value, I don't know, yeah, here you go. So let's say I don't want to rotate this so much. You have to hold down shift. If you want to stay in the vertical axis of the graph editor, hold down shift. And then I click middle mouse click on this, on my mouse, and you can see a question mark. It's asking me, do you want to rotate it left or, I'm sorry, do you want to translate it up and down or left to right? And if I move in that direction, I'm telling you that I want to move it in the time left or right. Or if I hold down shift, middle mouse click, and I just drag it up, you can see that, okay, I understand you want me to move it in the rotation.
Oh, okay.
So the key is holding down shift and then middle mouse dragging either left or right for timing or up and down for rotation or translation. And there's, this isn't the end of animation. This is just the beginning. So both the hop and the slide, except for the bottom, the base con at the bottom, everything else is still in stepped. So he pops into one frame and out of the other frame. It's blocky. So the next thing I would show you guys, once you get those really nice and refined and you have all the in-betweens you need to get the nice movement, then we would go into spline. But for now, I just want you guys at least to start working and blocking, either with a slide like this, if you need your character to walk forward, or a hop where he's bouncing up and down to get there. Any other questions? And one thing I want you to be, and you really see this when you're working in spline, even though I used a lot of frames, you can see that I keyed the waist con here and here and here and here. I may not end up even using these. If I delete these frames from the animation, it doesn't change the animation. The values are the same. And sometimes it's worth just going through and cleaning that up, but I'm not going to worry about that until stepped. I'm sorry, until spline, because a lot of what you end up doing in animation is sometimes deleting frames that you thought were working, and then once you get to spline, you have something that works better, and you can delete stuff that you don't need anymore. So don't be afraid of deleting frames that you've just make sure that you know what you're deleting, not just randomly deleting stuff. All right. So let's stop it there.